And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night show for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 47. Took off a couple of weeks. Let's not get into it. Mostly because I forgot. I couldn't do it a couple weeks ago. And then Thanksgiving, and now today. So, you're welcome. Here we are, back at it again, doing late night stuff. There's something going on with OBS and with Audition. Something's going on with this Mac. 8 gigabytes is not a lot of RAM. This is it's fast for when it came out in 2021 or whatever time. But the laptop I had before, the one that failed, the one I still have, not failed, the battery crapped out on me. And then I didn't use it for a long time. I think like a calendar year. And I said, let me plug that thing back in. Plugged it back in, battery's fine. I mean, it barely holds a charge. Obviously, I need to replace the battery. And probably the SSD. But when I bought that laptop, Lenovo Yoga 900, the one with the kind of watch band hinge, it was great because it has a lot of RAM in it. It's got 16. I think it was at the time it was very fast. Now I would never buy a computer with less than 16 grams of RAM. 16 grams, 16 gigabytes of RAM. I would only get anything that's 24 or more. Any hoosers, the computer has not been used a lot this week. Spent a lot of internet surfing, a lot of email checking, and then that's pretty much it. So I don't know why. If you're watching the video looks horrible, I gotta say, but there's nothing I can do about it. While the theme song was playing, I Googled the words because I saw these words pop up as soon as I started the recording. It said, something overload. I wasn't even paying attention. I typed in OBS encoding overload. That's what it said. It said encoding overload. So I typed it in just to see what was up. And Google told me. It's what happens when there's too many programs open. I'll tell you right now, there's even when I just open up my regular suite of podcast, and I'll get to late night stuff. This is what I would reserve for the Constitutional. But I popped open my regular suite of apps to put up on the screen, the quad view, which includes Chrome, which might be the culprit, Audition, OBS, and Notion that has the notes. And, Chrome, as is a resource hog, it probably is working pretty well. Notion's working pretty well because that's a lightweight application. I'm having issues with Audition. I'm having issues with OBS. Welcome back. Sorry, I screamed. Oh, boy, look at that spike. Welcome back. What happened this week in late night? As much as I've been celebrating after midnight, and what I consider as its success in bringing internet culture to television, to mainstream television, to broadcast television, and it's working, and championing younger, lesser known comedians in the same way that At Midnight is doing. I feel that they have gone back to the well too many times with a lot of return guests, and I've been very vocal about that. And I wish that they would broaden their horizons with a lot of comedians who did appear on At Midnight. Now I like people like Kurt Brownohler, Pete Holmes, Matt Bronger. Those are people who appeared on At Midnight. So I'm looking for them Tom Lennon, and I'm sure Tom Lennon is a producer on this show too. But I'm looking for them to bring back people from that time period as well, because they've brought back some people multiple times. I'm saying, all right, let's bring in some other people, not to take away from what these other people have done, what these new people have done. But this week was a good week for people who you would recognize if you enjoy the world of comedy. So you see, or every internet, even internet. Mamrie Hart, she popped up, and then Brennan Kyle Goodman. I believe we saw. Hold on, I'm trying to look for somebody I know I saw earlier. Oh yeah, and Robbie Hoffman came back. I think Robbie Hoffman's very funny. And it feels like, it's the first week back, and it feels like a light week, and that's not just taking anything away from these comedians. Also, here's something I noticed is that a lot like what is the case for other late night shows, Taylor's new monologue segment that is probably 2 months old is getting the bulk of the views compared to single clips. Also, I also want to say, I really wish they would stop not naming comedians in clip breakouts. There should be a template with what they post for every episode. So we know they're going to do hashtag wars. We know they're going to do some big game that involves all three of them, like in front of the podiums, doing something. We know there's going to be a couch segment, and we know there's going to be a monologue, and then 2 other games that they could show off here in some form or fashion. So they should choose somebody from the couch segment, and they become not the main person in the couch segment, but for the online breakout. But they'll say if there's a couch segment and everybody is showing off. There was one with Muggs, with Kate McCucci and I believe Pete Holmes a couple of weeks ago. And hold on, I really don't want to be rude because I know there was somebody else there that I know. Oh, and gosh, this is ridiculous. Mark Duplass. They should say there's a mug mystery and Pete Holmes is going to get to the bottom of it, And then for the hashtag wars, choose just say Robbie Hoffman has a band has some hashtags for hashtag lizard licks. I don't know, but make sure each comedian has their own clip, because they're coming on the show not to promote the show. They're coming on the show to promote themselves. So if we're going to do 1, 2, 7 clips, then let's make sure each person gets 1 clip minimum, and then plus the monologue, so that's 4 clips, and then 2 games with the names of 2 comedians who basically were breakouts in those segments. Just saying. But not naming somebody in a clip, or only having 2 comedians who I would who a regular person would not know. Like, here's one video that says push or pull, a door game will blow your mind, but they have 2 comedians featured in the picture. Like, it's just so generic, because I could come up with those. But if I'm looking, and I'm sure Kurt Brownohler talks about how 2024 is the year of the brain rot. I don't know, just some BS like that. Come on, you got these names. Show them off. Okay, next up, Anthony Jeselnik appeared on Jimmy Kimmel this week. Oh, the video I chose for After Midnight was one featuring Mamrie Hart. And I truly chose it because I think I haven't seen or heard Mamrie's name in a while. She's one of YouTube's finest. One of the starts. Again, it was a sleepy week. Kimmel had a good week though, and there's a sponsored Starbucks spot featuring Lou, his announcer, and one of his writers, and probably one of the only handful of people of color that work there. I don't see a lot of people of color that work at Jimmy Kimmel Live. Just saying. Anyway, again, Jimmy had a fine week. Jamie Lee Curtis was there. You know, I also noticed Denzel Curry was on performing songs. Their music booker is really good. I would say their music booker rivals that of the Tonight Show. They are able to get some really good people over there on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Also, Kyle Mooney popped up, and it was great, and it was just such a fantastic conversation. And I just think Kyle Mooney's such a funny guy. Ronnie Chang sat down with the creator of Interior Chinatown, Charles Yu, who Ronnie Chang is also on the show, and it's a wonderful show. We are in still. I guess we have 1 year left on this Jon Stewart contract, and it's beginning to. I understand the show probably, in quotes, needed Jon Stewart because of I'm fixing the arm, and I chose in the middle of an episode, in the middle of recording, to fix this arm, the arm for the microphone. Also, I have new ear pucks because my other ones were worn out on the headphones. The headphones that I stole, and I'll say it, I stole from Bounce TV / Court TV when they laid me off. They gave me severance that was so tiny. And I said, I'm keeping these. I'm keeping these. And it was still in a time. It was during the pandemic. It was during 2021. People still weren't coming into the office. And I was one of 5. And I should have stolen a computer. They wouldn't have done shit. Steal as much as you can when you're let go. I don't care. I'll say it. Nothing matters. The woman who let me go also. Never mind. I'm not even gonna rehash this. Listen to LinkedIn logs. I talk about that all the time. LinkedIn logs. I sure haven't done it in a month. You can only talk about jobs so much, you know. We are in the middle of this contract with Jon Stewart, and people really like him still, but I've mentioned this before. He did this both sidesism that he plays on this show is just getting to be. It's wearing down on me, and Trevor Noah did the same thing, where constantly they're proven wrong every time they play both sides, where there is one side that is bad. And yeah, I understand the Democrats have done bad or stupid things too, or unsavory or stupid things too, not bad. But there's one side that is bad, and he's taking both sides to task as if there's the same level of vileness. And also, I saw a Vanity Fair article. I don't quite remember the headline, but featuring Jon Stewart. Oh, and it was talking about the media, and I'm just going, hey, my man, you're not. And this is going to be strange to say this about an atheist who does not hide it, but you're not journalist Jesus. Like, you're a comedian who happens to have a job in the vein, in the sights, in the guise of journalism. There's, he always presents himself as if this is that. Like, it's one of my biggest issues with Jon Stewart. I have a lot of issues with him. I ultimately think he's a funny person, and I do think he says some smart things sometimes. But he leads his audience down these kind of I don't want to paint him as Alex Jones, but he is kind of in that vein of, you know, atheist redditor come to life, who has read some books sometimes, but he. And again, I'll say it in the same way. Trevor Noah, you know, defending Joe Rogan, then the next day proved wrong about Joe Rogan, doing it again about other people, whether be they comedians or media personalities or whatnot. But you're just this show is, for better or worse, a modern day news show where people tend to get their news. And for some people, they don't watch it every single day. They just watch the Jon Stewart one. And so and they watch John Oliver, and that's where they get their news from. And they only know a lot about one thing. You know, they want to pretend they're smart. Then they want to comment on the YouTube section, YouTube comment section. They want to go to Reddit comment, and they want to pretend like they know everything else because they read Breitbart and The Chive. I think that is one of the biggest failings of who Jon Stewart is that he, I'm going to use a term that the children use. He's getting high on his own supply. He's sipping from his own cup. Is that a thing? He believes his shit don't stink. And that really came. I mean, that's been something that I noticed when he was during his original run, and it's just something about that Daily Show seat. Because yes, I do think he is funny. I think, why is State Farm calling me? I think he is funny. Also, not at 4:47 on a Friday. I do think he's funny, and I do think that Trevor Noah is funny. I do think that they both have things to say. But the way that, in the same way, and now I'll take it back to Alex Jones and those people, in the same way that people listen to how, you know, Alex Jones and those other jerk offs talk, and they hold whatever those people say to be truthful, and the singular truth is the same way that John Oliver, Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, like they quote these, and I know I just named late night hosts / comedians, but you're in this seat of power, and people are going to listen to you no matter what. And I'm sure I can say the same thing about people that watch The View. I'm sure people swear by Joy and Whoopi and Anna and the rest, and my beautiful bride Alyssa Farrah Griffin. She's so pretty. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure there's people that, the same way people swear by Fox News, people only swear by MSNBC. And yeah, I know I'm doing the both sides thing, but I'm also saying that there needs to be some type of recognition that you're doing that. You're not the be all end all, Jon Stewart, and that's one of the biggest issues I have with him. Versus the other people that come in and guest host, they don't have that. Desi does not have that. Jordan does not have that. When Jordan goes out, I mean, he's really tamped us back, and I kind of agree with him, especially after his show was canceled when he left the Daily Show to do a spinoff of the Daily Show. Jordan tamped it down, but him, Desi, Ronnie, everybody else is not doing. They're basically playing like a little bit of a character while reporting news, but they're not making granular. They're not making grand statements. They're making granular ones. All right, let's move on. Seth Meyers took the Colbert questionnaire on Colbert, and I gotta tell you, I've been watching Colbert Report. Jesus, I've been watching the Late Show. Jesus, I still watch clips from the Late Show. I miss James Corden. I said he's such a lovable goofball. I love what he said about the writers at the WGA. I love that he didn't stand up for his writers. No, I love him so much. Oh, for real though, he did take what started with Kimmel, what Fallon perfected, and what his team did with YouTube videos. They did make social media work. Okay, I didn't want that to go unsaid. Seth Meyers took the Colbert questionnaire, and I still don't know what that is. I don't know what the Colbert questionnaire is. It's just a bunch of questions. And then Angelina Jolie popped up on Tonight Show, which is interesting because I didn't know she was producing a Broadway play, and this is like before when it was just basically Fallon, Kimmel, and Letterman, and like back before like this is all internet stuff, and when you could only come to a late night show. So take away what I just said. Back when it was just a late night show, when late night was the only time you got to see famous people, except for like morning shows and talk shows, other talk shows, daytime talk shows. Angelina Jolie popping up on Fallon Tonight Show really felt like those days, when if you missed an episode of Letterman, you missed an episode of Letterman. And it was nice to see her. Also, I read an article about her attending the opera, the Met, or was it the Met? The opera today on when I was walking the treadmill, doing a Peloton treadmill walking class before I did the Wicked Run. I read an article, a feature piece on the New York Times about her, and or about her enjoying the play and also the opera. Anyway, it's good, and then to see that she popped up last night was fantastic. All right, let's get to the main story, and then I gotta hang up so I can do this other podcast. This comes from Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. Jason Kelce is tackling a late night series for ESPN. He also just appeared at UCB, I believe, like 2 weeks ago before Thanksgiving. The show is going to be called, they call it Late Night with Jason Kelce. It's going to run at 1 a.m. on Saturdays, starting January 4th on ESPN. With the final broadcast launching at 1:30 a.m. The 1 hour show will originate from Philadelphia, where Kelce enjoyed a 13-season run in the NFL, and he will hold forth in front. Just write a sentence. He's going to be alive. There's going to be a live crowd at the city's Union Transfer. Each show will be taped Friday evening, just hours before the program goes to air. So it's going to be taped at like 5 p.m. on Fridays. Don't say, because the last late night show I believe to be live to tape was Jimmy Kimmel Live's first couple of seasons. It remains unclear if ESPN sees a future for Kelce around midnight, but the show is said to be something the former football center wanted to try when he joined the Disney sports giant earlier this year, ostensibly as a key addition to Monday Night Countdown, the pre-show that leads into Monday Night Football. This is one of the few times ESPN has gone into late night programming. They've done, oh my God, what was that show? Oh, I used to like it too. ESPN late night show. God, what is her name? And I'm thinking of oh God, what is her name? Katie something. I don't know. Nope, it's not Katie. Hold on, I saw the name. No, it's not that. Always Late with Katie Nolan. Ugh. Whew. Jeez. It was on the tip of my head. Katie Nolan had a couple of shows with ESPN. Let me go to her Wikipedia page. Let's see. Career, Fox Sports, ESPN. After she popped up on shows like The Dan Le Batard Show and Highly Questionable, she was, and also she did some Sports Center on Snapchat thing when Snapchat was the next big thing. She had a podcast called Sports with Katie Nolan. She's great. I think she was a very interesting and very funny and very smart person. And she had that show. But this is going to be like a real former show because that aired on ESPN2, I believe, and I don't think that aired on ESPN mainline. I love eating mainline and ESPN. Ooh, so good. Now, what this show is going to do, it should at least draw a younger crowd to NFL play. The show will debut hours before the last weekend of NFL regular season play, with subsequent hours leading into super wild card, divisional, and conference championship weekends. The show will have many trappings of the regular late night show. There will be live music from the Philadelphia band Snack Time. Kelce and guests are expected to examine the coming weekend's games and will look for fans at the venue to take part in the proceedings. I think there's only so much they could do. I don't know if we can really call it. I mean, it's a late night show. It's a show. It airs at late night. I don't know if there's so much if we can truly call it a late night show if it doesn't have the same things that a late night show typically has, which is a monologue or some type of stand-up piece. There was a Sports Soup, which is a spinoff of Web Soup and Talk Soup, and that it was the same thing. It was an internet make fun of show that aired on. Where did Sports Soup air on? God, I can't remember. I definitely watched that. I did watch that show. I thought it was something that existed. It aired. It was part of the E family shows. The Soup, the Dish, Web Soup, Celebrity Soup. Where did it air? On Versus. That's right. Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about Versus. Whew. I'm not gonna say I'm excited to see anything, but this is going to be something that people it'll be different from what ESPN already typically offers, and I'm surprised that they gave it to somebody like Jason Kelce. Not to say that he's a recognizable person, but what I'm saying is, you would think that they would give something to Stephen A. Smith. And they give him a show, but again, you have to be entertaining, you have to be funny. Stephen A. Smith says a lot of stuff. I don't know if he's entertaining or funny. When I'm watching him, I'm just like, look at that man bouncing around. I got turned down the TV too. I'll talk about it when it comes on, though. That'll be a great episode for that week, or for the following week. That's right. Yeah. I'll be off that week. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, probably. I will probably. I don't know. All right, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. You can watch a video version of the show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. If you want to see video versions of the other podcasts, LinkedIn Logs, which is the jobs podcast, and The Constitutionals, which is the entertainment business news podcast, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever your podcast. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and other ones at C Plus Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.